So on the agenda today, there's one, Mr. Robert Timpany wants to talk about a road up in Antelope Flats area. And so he's on the agenda and he's here and he'd like to talk. Could you bring up that aerial view? Just to bring you up to date a little bit on this,
Dave, why don't you move over here so you can get up and slide it.
we've got the parcel map viewer. And so the road that they're talking about comes off of Highway 26, just past the rest stop. And so the rest stop is on the upper part of the map there, and just to the left of it, there's a little dirt road that comes off and comes back and around, and has been in use for a while. So it starts right here off of Highway 26, comes back and around. And Mr. Timpany owns a section of ground back here and here and here that he has historically accessed via this dirt road. Now, it is not a recognized county road. It has shown up on maps in the 2010, 2000 hearings. It showed up as an unimproved road. Unimproved road, it wasn't essentially given any recognition by the county for whatever it was. It's an access to farm ground. That's all it's ever been used for. And so the county hasn't expended any tax dollars on it, has never maintained it, has never graded it, has never done anything with it. David went back in some older maps that we have, and in 1954, 52, it showed up as a primitive road on the inventory. It showed up as a primitive road for a number of years, and then it disappeared off of those road inventory maps.
1970, I believe.
Yeah,
70, it's there. 71, it's gone.
and then it came back as a unimproved road in 2010, 2011. So, Mr. Timpany.
First, thank you all for letting me speak. I
State your name and address for the record, please.
Timpany, 4792 East 75 North, Rigby, Idaho, live just east of Ryree. When I moved here in 2004, I purchased land from Neal Brown, who has farmed that land for me. And he and his family have farmed that land for over 100 years. And I want to thank all the employees of the county in helping me discuss this matter with you all, particularly Director Black and Director Bates have been extremely helpful. So that road that transits my parcels used to be, prior to Highway 26 being built, the only way to get from the Idaho Falls areas to Antelope Flats and we have documents by other parties that have testified to that for over 100 years, and those are filed with the county. Director Bates mentioned the 2010 meeting. I have that. I have a statement from Maxine Clark, who's owned land in that area for a very long time. Statements from Neal and I, as well as the 1952 map that Director Bates mentioned. And so I'm asking you to validate that as a county road, and validate it as a public right of way, and to map it out in its current form as shown depicted on the map today.
So just bring me up to speed, because I haven't been part of any of these previous conversations. It's currently listed as a county road, 105. it's currently validated as a county road.
No, it is not valid.
It was in the hearings though, wasn't it? 'Cause in
No.
2011, they listed
It
it as
wasn't.
105 as an unimproved.
It was unimproved, but it wasn't validated.
Cause doesn't the dash show as an
Yeah,
unimproved county
semantics now.
road?
It says that it may qualify as a public right of way. Inclusion of the roads on the official map does not constitute validation or abandonment of any road. So it just gives,
No, I'm not a land use attorney, but the fact that it's on a map as a road and there's a historical use precedence, at least since 52 as a county road, or as a road recognized by the county as a road, whether it's ours or someone else's. Has this been to legal to get Scott's opinion as to whether or not we need to
No, it hasn't.
put a stamp on this so that it's a public right of way, or the fact that there's 100 years of valid historic use as a county right of way or as a public right of way? I guess I don't understand what the question is. Is someone trying to close the road off?
Yes,
Well, that doesn't go particularly well around here.
so in one of the adjacent landowners who straddled the road per se, came to the Bonneville County Planning and Zoning, a special use meeting to construct a cell tower. The cell tower construction company, and based on a public records request that Director Bates replied to, constructed a gate over what I believe is county right of way without the permission of the county or adjacent landowners. The special use meeting minutes said that there would be no impact to agricultural use. It was right after when I just purchased the property, and that's not a road that I access usually by vehicle. He farms it and I walk up to it when I'm hunting.
Yeah, that's right.
So after the cell tower was construction, there was a fenced in area around the tower itself. They opened the gate. That gate's remained open until recently. An individual bought some parcels adjacent to mine. The parcel that straddles this county road next to Highway 26, and then interestingly, bought 100-foot wide parcel to get from where he, I think, intends to build a house all the way to the road, which is a requirement by the county for planning and zoning if he ever wants to build a private dwelling. He has since locked that gate. And I'll let Neal speak to it, but Neal's been trying to farm that. He's driven me up there for 2 years. This individual that is blocking access of a county road, right, which that's our starting point. If that's not true, that's what we're trying to get to resolution with you all. Is this a county right of way or not?
So there is a process called a validation process that hasn't been gone through yet, that could be requested to have this validated. Part of that validation is a public hearing, but we also need legal descriptions for where the road is, not where it was necessarily shown on 1952. In 1952 and versus what it is today, it's not in the same place, but you also have to go off of the scale of a map that's really hard to define where a dirt road could possibly go.
Which is a little easier to define by looking at the history of aerial photographs.
It could be, yeah, but it's not a legal description.
No, but it shows you where it was, shows you where it is. That's pretty easy to track.
I think we need to ask Scott or Weston with what was done with this, if it
I'm not sure
Truthfully,
how it
is a
got through the
county
validation process and shows up on the map as a road. If it didn't make it through the validation process, I thought that's what that was about. I thought that was to go find all of the roads that weren't on the list and make sure that they got on the list.
Well, I think the process, and I wasn't there during that process, there was a number of roads that had validation based on use and based on other things as part of those hearings. I don't believe this was one of them.
It wasn't, it was on the exhibit B, which it clearly states that,
It's unimproved
yeah,
and not validated.
right.
What number is that, David, that you're looking at?
You have a copy of this?
State somewhere that those roads were shown so that the county could have the authority to do a validation or a.
If they chose to.
Yeah, and
This was not addressed in those hearings as one that was validated.
it basically just says in number 8 that there was nothing in the official minutes that showed it was vacated or abandoned at any point, and that's why they left it on there, but I think it probably would still have to be validated, but that's probably what we should check with.
Okay.
Weston Scott on and just make sure that that's the process that needs to happen.
Well, I think we're lucky in that our legal advisor is probably one of the best land access attorneys in the state. I was in a similar situation where a guy put a gate across the road to my place.
And there's
And-
precedence with Floyd versus Bonneville County, which was blocking a road through Tex Creek and access Antelope Creek. I personally have witnessed that case. I went to the
Well,
Idaho
let's-
Supreme Court.
So did ours. 2 years and a whole bunch of money to prove that we were right and he was wrong, and
Unfortunate.
but let's go to legal counsel with this and see what Scott's opinion is about what direction we need to do to.
So
Our responsibility is to validate that.
Reach out with next steps. As to what-
So is gate currently closed or open?
The gate was closed, I think Friday, it's locked. And I'm a landowner, and the individual that locked that gate, which is the way to get to my parcel. That has never spoken to me or provided me access to that gate. And again, Neal has the history better than I do.
Okay, if I,
Yeah,
Just give us your name and address.
yeah, Neal Brown, 4662 East, 250 North, Rigby by Ryrie. The gate was put up by the cell tower company when they,
is it their gate?
yeah, it was their gate. And
They given permission to him to lock their gate?
I don't know. When I first saw it was locked, I called the cell company and he says, well, just take it out. We don't want it anymore. We just used it for, keeping people away from there while they were constructing the, you know, it's like half a mile away from the cell tower, but, anyhow, this guy decided that he's gonna lock us out, so. That's what we're worried about.
I did submit public records request. Director Bates responded to it. The county never gave permission to construct a gate across that,
Road and Bridge never gave permission.
sorry. To construct the gate in the first place. So we have a couple issues here. One, the cell tower I go back to the planning and zoning meeting about special use, no impact to agriculture. Constructing a gate, locking it is an impact to agriculture. Now, a recent purchaser of land in the area is using that gate built by the cell company, cell tower construction company, to try to restrict access to what I believe is a public right of way.
And I just want to point out, and we've talked about this before, but there's two different issues we're talking about here, right? First is finding out, well, is this actually a publicly dedicated county right of way? Because if the answer is yes, then that makes things a little different. This is just a driveway that's been used as an easement or prescriptive easement to move people in and out of the property, then that's more of a legal issue that the county isn't going to really have any say in. That would have to be settled between two different attorneys, land
Understood.
attorneys between the landowners, right?
And
So I think that the question and the path forward is at this point is that a public right of way, which if it currently isn't, then we would need to try the validation process. And if it currently isn't, the county wouldn't have had to issue a permit for a gate because it's on private land. So there's a different things that you're dealing with in the process.
Let's see what Scott has to say.
Yeah, so we'll,
So if the, like those old maps that I was looking at had a number, 105. It was a county road then, apparently, to get the number, I mean,
No,
No?
it was identified as a road and given a number, but it was not validated as a county road.
and
But it was identified on a map as something that, there is something here. But the commissioners didn't take action one way or another on it, they just recognized that something was there.
so that's why we'll follow up on the process and then see what our next steps
So,
are.
thank you.
Reach
so
out to us.
validating means you're accepting the road? Or,
No, I think validation, in my understanding, means that the county recognizes that there's a public use for the road. But not necessarily accepting maintenance responsibility or not doing anything else like that. And that's what I want to be pretty clear, because I don't want it to get to a point where the county is on the hook for maintaining 2, 3, 4 miles of what now is, talking with Mr. Timpany in the past many years, they plow over that in order to plant the fields.
well, yeah, I've really only one graded the road, so I've done it for years, but.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, I'm not asking the county to do
No.
anything.
You may not be, but in the future, if somebody sees that as a recognized county road, they may say, well, that's a county road, I wanna build a house back here, and the county has to plow it now.
so and given that it's not validated currently. And I'm looking at this for my son, right, who's gonna inherit this property. And given if he ever wants to build a house there, which is, if we could all stand up there, we would all admit it is an unbelievable view. You're staring north to the National Forest Service, you see the Snake River, absolutely gorgeous, but right now, I would have to buy a 100-foot easement all the way back down to 26 to be able to build a house up there. And since a house permit has not been requested by the individual that's locking this gate at this time, it hasn't invoked some other processes within the county to determine whether or not by building a house and getting a 100-foot easement to meet county requirements would impede or block another interior parcel.
So,
So,
and right now, the regulations are don't really truly allow an easement off of Highway 26 to be able to get a building permit. They require access of 100 foot of of access to a county road in order to get
Except it
a
isn't.
building permit.
Which, there again, I'm gonna go back to my point, until we know what this is, I think it leaves us a lot of unanswered questions, so let's get with legal. Let's figure out what we need to do moving forward, and then from there, we can start to address all those other concerns, because that will change what is or isn't, and what access is or isn't, and all of those things, so.
Thank you for considering this.
Are you under a time crunch or anything for accessing that now, or?
But we're gonna be planning it in the next week or two, so.
Let's see, the guy who put the gate in, if we could take the gate out.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well, we'll reach out to legal and try to get you an answer within the next week or so,
Oh, that'd be great.
Thank you very
as
much.
to next steps, so.
Great day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you too.
Of course, another item that we want to talk about again is a couple of weeks ago, you took a tour of the transfer station. We were talking about different options for compactors. Blair has had a little bit more information come back about different options, and we're solid waste department is needing some direction to get these compactors on order, because it'll take a year. If we order them today, it'll take a year to get here.
Affected by tariffs.
We probably are.
Very well.
We don't hurry. The new
Well,
trucks-
even if we hurry,
The new trucks
they're
are
gonna be
there.
affected. So the updated cost on page 5 looks like it's almost $3.9 million.
Which is a little less than the last time because we had included or looked at a different option. But if you, as you read through here, it'll give you the different options that we can take in order to get this done. We need to do some work on the actual transfer station upstairs, so we would like to take the option where the riggers stay, so it's probably option 1. The riggers will remain on site and remove the old compactor while they're commissioning the new compactor. They'll stay on site, move the old compactor out, put our new compactor in. And we'll get them both up and running. That'll put us down, the transfer station will be closed for about 3 weeks, which will give us time to do some upgrading on that commercial side of the transfer station as well, so. It will be a quicker turnaround, get both machines up and running, and I think it'll save us a little bit of money as far as not sending them away and then having them have to come back. So once they'll come, they'll remove the county's new machine, set it outside, they'll bring their new machine, put it in. But this newer machine's a little bit bigger and heavier, so there's some concern that our concrete where our new machine sits is not adequate enough. So if it is not, Lance has an engineer working on that right now, trying to decide whether
It can handle the
it can
additional
handle
load.
that additional weight. If it can, great, that'll cut off a lot of this, but if it can't, which they're SSI is super concerned about, so. If it is, then they'll come in, pull our machine out, then we'll have to have the engineer come in and a concrete guy come in and they'll cut the concrete out, dig it out and add additional concrete sufficient enough to handle this machine. And then
How
we
much
have to wait
lifetime
for
will that
to
create?
do it.
And,
What's that?
How much lifetime will that create?
It'll be,
Date.
that'll be about a month, about 30 days.
So that'd extend the closing another 30
But
days.
the
Yeah.
other compactor, we'll keep that compactor running while
you'd
they're
still be
doing
up
this,
to
as long as we don't, as long as it doesn't break down or we have issues.
Okay.
One of our biggest concerns here is our old machine is super old, our new machine is old. But our new machine is the one that the piston came off of the ram. And so they band-aided that by putting longer bolts and Loctiting them in there, so. Worst case scenario, if both of those machines happen to go down. We would be closed for a year. So worst case scenario, now, but if the ram goes, if that piston comes off of that ram. In that new machine, in our new machine. It is fall before we can have another ram built. So I was talking to Lance about maybe just going ahead right now and getting the ram ordered, because. If that machine goes down, then that puts us down to one machine, and it's the old machine, the outdated machine that we're relying on for daily. So,
Is that part of what would be done as the rebuild, as part of the rebuild, when you rebuild the
Yeah.
newer one?
and if nothing else comes of this, we should definitely do the rebuild on our current machine, which is 100 or 1,000,000 and,
1.2.
yeah, the top. Yeah, 1.2. That work needs
So
to
the
be
3.8,
done.
is that the new one and the rebuild? Or
Yes.
Yeah,
A new one and that rebuild done. So
and
then
ordering
both
the RAM
machines
is
are
just getting it ordered earlier.
Pardon me?
Ordering the RAM now will just be ordering the RAM earlier than.
And that part of that rebuild.
Could that be taken
That needs
out?
to be done anyway,
Yeah.
you know, that work needs to be done anyway. But at least we should have the ram, because if that piston comes off that ram, off that rod, we are. Done in the water, so.
So this is not scheduled to even start until that machine were to arrive, correct? Is that what 3 week would start?
So, I mean, right now, if we order the RAM, it's gonna be fall before it gets here. And so that's if we order it.
Yeah.
Now.
And if by chance, if we had it. If we had it ordered and it was sitting on site or sitting at their facility, I mean, we would be down for a couple weeks probably, but they could bring the RAM. They could remove the platen out of our machine, put the RAM in and get our machine back up and running if we have the RAM built and setting somewhere, but if it's setting out in. Space somewhere, it's not, and it's the build time on that thing, it's a year, you know, it's gonna be 9 months before we can do something, so.
Just out of curiosity, what's it cost? Our patrons when we're closed? What's the additional cost for you guys to haul up to the landfill as opposed to the transfer station? Or
I don't
is
know
there,
if that
because
cost
it's
is ever
closer?
Calculated, but
Yeah.
That's
just
why I'm
fuel
asking.
costs. I don't know what it would be. I can find out though.
Imagine the city would see an increase in cost, because it's a little
Yeah.
further trip for them, but.
My job.
Probably, I mean, the cost would probably, I mean, it'd be fuel, but the biggest hassle would be you get out of your schedule. And so your routes would be all messed up.
That's
And,
why,
and people, you know, right now, people can set their watches to when they get their cans picked up.
yes, they
They're
can.
really on the
I
ball.
always appreciated that.
Yeah, so that would probably be the biggest, inconvenience.
So whatever we do, we wanna make sure. And an advance notice, Idaho Falls, advance notice.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
the
problem
process.
here, if that piston comes off,
there is no
there
advance
is no
notice.
advance notice, so. I guess that's kind of where we're at here, that's
Actually,
why.
there is, you say. This potential problem that might be coming down the road, this is what we're going to correct it,
Yeah.
so when it happens, and we say, oh, by the way, this just happened.
This could
They
happen.
knew in advance that that might happen, and that makes it easier.
So the new one is just replacing the oldest one, right?
Yeah, basically, we need to put the.
Well, it
new-
doesn't cost any more to order it now. We're gonna have to order it a year from now when we do it. I would say it would make sense to order it now and
Well, what we were saying is if we order all of it today, it'll take a year to get all of it here. But that's if we order,
Yeah,
all of it
we've
today.
gotta
Right.
place the order.
but if we don't order the piston until it goes down,
right,
then we're pushing that.
Yeah.
A delivery date back until the date that it fails. And if we order it today, every day that it doesn't fail is the day that it gets here before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That saves us downtime.
So Commissioner Mallard had the question of how we were going to pay for this. So Lance and I have also talked about that. We have,
Raise Hammond's fee.
or, what's that?
Sorry.
He said raise and.
Oh, yeah, raise that. That'll work too.
how much reserves do you have?
Can we have it? So right now we have, we had in our budget originally $6.5 million for projects. We've talked about the flare station with our engineer, and we are not going to be able to make it. So we have a permit to construct through the EPA for that flare station, and we have to break ground and be in construction by the 15th of June. We are not going to be able to bid that project quick enough now because we've had some engineer issues with the electrical people, and so that's pushing us back to the point where we're not going to be able to bid that project. So we're going to ask DEQ and the EPA for an extension on the permit to construct, which is fine because we're not held to any standard right now because we haven't tripped. So that's going to push that project further back. And so that's going to give us the advantage of having some of that money left over to do this. So I
Money
think
not used
between the
there
two,
to
yeah,
use here.
money that we're not using in one spot. So I think between the two, if we all agree that we can add these projects to, we're going to have additional money for next year, but we're not going to utilize all of that $6 million this year. We'll have to pay for the skid, for the flare station skid probably up front in order for them to order it, but we only need to pay 35% of this up front, and then when it's ready to ship, they want the other 55, and then they get the 15. 10
afterward.
So it's a shell game, which we all know this is how we play. We shuffle the shells, but
So what you're saying is you've got the money,
I think
you can
between,
divert it from a different project. and
Yeah.
Put it back into that project in
Yeah.
the next budget.
yeah. And I don't, just looking at this number and the estimates on the engineers and they're very vague right now. But once we bid that project, then we'll have a better idea of how much that gas, the flare station is gonna cost. But between the two, I think we're gonna be really close to what we currently have set aside, so.
This includes all their installation too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the only thing that would be
includes it-
above and beyond this would
is
be cutting the
concrete,
concrete.
if we have to.
But everything else has been, we've had an electrical contractor in, he's looked at our electrical supply to make sure we have the correct amount of amperage voltage to run both of these machines. The new machine, they're gonna update to a 150 horse variable speed motors. And the old machine, they're gonna update those to variable speeds as well, but the older machine, they still have to run two different motors.
There is another shutdown of the transfer station that we do need to do sooner than later, of the flooring. And they're still working on the prices for that, but we're looking at a 5-day closure when we can do that, so.
We'll explain what that's for, cause. Here for part of that discussion, part of the floors separating from the chute to the ram. And gotta get them fix it so they don't catch it and tear it up and ruin the whole floor.
What's that shutdown gonna
We haven't got the days put together yet. We're hoping, and it'll be a couple weeks probably. Notice before we do actually shut down.
just
Well-
the transfer station?
Yeah, we'll be open everywhere else.
Right.
Hopefully, A&R gets back to us this week and, we can schedule that plan that the section that's broke is about the length of that table, maybe a little bit longer. But there are 3 other seams in that transfer station that run east and west that were put in at exactly the same time as this one that's broke. So they want us to go in and get the pit clean. They'll move in and take care of the problem child. But then they're going to inspect those other 2 seams, and if they're worn or have any show of stress, then they're gonna gouge those out and weld them also. So it could be as much as a 2-day shutdown, or could be as much, as little of a 2-day shutdown, or all 5 days.
I don't suppose there's any vibration sensors attached to that floor underneath, are there?
No. We try as best we can to stay off of the metal
Right.
and keep that guarding.
Right, sensor would show change in frequency of vibration and tell you that there's a crack coming. Science. Okay, well. Let's do it. It's just
One of those
it's
things
gotta
that
be, so
gotta be
let's get it
done,
done, and why would we wait?
It's just asking for more issues, so. I say go for
Okay,
Talk to Penny and make sure we're doing it correctly for the
it.
bookkeeping side of things. Don't wanna tick the clerk off, right?
well, right now it's a capital construction budget and it's not earmarked to a particular thing.
Let's just check with,
Yeah,
always safer to check with the clerk.
okay,
That was the easiest yes you ever got out of us, wasn't it?
Thank you. I mean, not to, you're just making the right choice.
Right.
Those machines, that one machine.
Right choices are easy,
brand,
wrong choices that are
93,
painful.
so it's
Yeah.
definitely served its purpose in that time. So yeah, you're definitely
Well, I
making,
appreciate the tour and the information, the background information you gave us.
what's that?
I appreciate the tour,
Oh, yeah, no,
you know, and all the background information makes it
that was
much easier to,
Lance's idea, so we'll give him all the credit,
all the credit.
right?
I'll just
It
fact.
was your idea that he said, I think it'd do him some good to come over and actually physically look at and understand what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
The fact that you guys are staying on top of this stuff is incredible too.
there's a lot of moving parts,
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving
And
parts.
you're you're watching them and monitor them, and that's huge.
Well, and we have, we spent a lot of money this year and we appreciate that, the past commission as well as you guys. I mean, you guys, the new commission has not been involved in it as much as the old. But the old commission really stepped up and let us update a lot of our equipment. And
Oh, well,
so
a couple of years.
it's definitely changed the entire scope of the work and made it a lot easier and so we're getting better compaction on the landfill, which is in essence saving us airspace and making the landfill last longer.
And there's
Big credit to the
Yeah.
past.
There's also things that we're looking at and exploring. Alternative daily cover up at the hill is another way that we could save a lot of airspace, but we haven't gone through all the details of that yet. But alternative daily cover means that we're using something else other than dirt to cover over that. And we have to put 6 inches of dirt over it every day. So if you don't have to put 6 inches of dirt, we put in an inch of foam
Dirt
or something like
fill
that.
up our landfill.
Whatever happened with the foam, I know they came and did that presentation. but
They came and did the presentation and it's just, I don't know, that's
How's that working?
one of the
Zero.
options
Yeah.
That was one of the concerns we
That's
had.
the problem. And talking to Southern Idaho at this last waste convention, they use the posi shell, which is it's just I don't know, it's probably not even a 1/4 inch thick. But you just get a good cover on your garbage, but it's, this versus this. So it's a huge air saving and they love it, but
It costs. a
when
lot.
it's cold, they don't mess with them. They use dirt.
Well,
But when it's, and for them, so they cover with dirt probably, and you have to, according to the rules, still cover with dirt once every 7 days for a fire break protection, that kind of stuff. So you're still using dirt, but
But
not
not as
nearly,
much.
not
3 feet
every day,
less.
which is saving. And we don't put 6 inches on because our material up there it blows away and it's so, we have to put more on to meet the requirements. So we're using a lot of dirt. We're filling our landfill up fast. So we definitely need to look at some different ways to cover it. The foam thing was, it didn't last long enough. The birds didn't like it, which was good, and it kind of made the birds stay off the garbage, but the foam didn't last long enough. It dissipated too quickly. And there's some product that this posi shell, you can add to that to make it last longer or, do different things. And one good thing about the applicator for the posi shell is it actually, you can use it's basically a hydro seeder. So we can use it to seed the landfill and take care of those spots like that. So it's multi-use where the foam applicator was just for that purpose only, so.
The flash plant you're talking about is for methane, or what's that?
Methane and other flammable gases.
I know it's driving.
And we collect it from the older cells and pipe it to a certain location, and then right now it's intended to flare it off, just burn it off. So,
They talked about that at the DEQ meeting, so that's.
This is what hasn't made it.
yeah, that's kind of the first cut that everybody takes, is they collect it and flare it off. There's some that have taken the additional step of trying to generate electricity from it, but that's a lot of infrastructure to
Yeah.
try to do that, so.
And the flaring, it keeps you from tripping.
Other
As long as we
inspections.
stay underneath the regulations, then we can operate it and adjust it and maintain it the way that we feel like we should. Once you trip and you go underneath their regulations, then they stipulate how
You
manage
operate
to
it.
run it, and it's way less paperwork and reporting for us if we stay under that threshold than if we trigger. Once we trigger, then there's some thresholds and some, you have to have a plan in 18 months, and it has to be in place and operational within 30, and then they regulate. So if you have a well that's not producing, you have to decommission that well completely. If we're running it the way we want, we can shut that well off or turn it way down and come back and relight it later on. So there's some good things about starting earlier and quicker before you trip versus waiting a month and then tripping and then work under their schedule restraints. But again,
Like federal oversight for law enforcement. You don't want that.
If we can help it, would prefer not to have those
Yeah.
hard
we don't need that
regulations,
extra
and
help.
operate it the way we need to.
Yeah. This makes sense.
The other thing I want to update you on is we are opening roads for the winter. They have punched a hole through that drift on 115th. They're going to be grading it today, hopefully. And if it grades okay, we'll probably open the gates on 115th, both ends of it tomorrow. They're working on Meadow Creek. There's 2 guys working on Meadow Creek Road. There's another 3 guys working on up above Keps and Eagle Pass. They're up to about Skyline now. They're gonna get the grade down into Fall Creek to try to do that. They're working on that this week. Long Valley Road is still a little ways out, but Bingham County has basically given us permission to punch a hole through it to get to Gray's Lake if we need to before they're going to be going. Most likely, we are gonna be up there before they are. So we'll punch a hole through the drifts and get to Gray's Lake. But Gray's Lake is probably still at least 2 to 3 weeks away.
Doesn't surprise me.
And McCoy Creek is probably longer than that.
Oh. A lot of snow up there.
But we are working on getting those open. If you get calls about them, we're working on them.
Blacktail's open now.
Blacktail is
I
open.
almost
yes.
lost the guys.
Yeah, Blacktail, the road was open, but the gate was closed, but the gate was open.
And that's a Craig thing. So
Craig didn't know, and he didn't know that we had a near drowning up there either. Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Glad it wasn't.
yeah,
Water's cold.
very cool. That's all I have. I don't know if David had anything.
Didn't have anything.
Well, thank you, both.
I don't have anything, but Micah probably does.
I do, I've got.
You can come up here, wheel your chair up here if you want, Micah. You don't have to beg us.
Dealing with those.
Just two questions for the group today. First was, we would like to have a joint meeting with the commissioners, the city council.
Yeah.
Like to do like a lunch meeting.
Excellent.
The mayor threw out a few dates for you all, so if you can write these down, and let me know what works best for you guys. These are all Mondays. So it'd be April 21st, April 28th, and then May 5th, May 12th, May 19th. That's April 21st, 28th, then May 5th, 12th, and 19th. And we can host it. We've got a new conference room. It's nothing fancy, but it'd fit everybody. And it'd just be over at the lunch hour. And typically the way that we've done it is the mayor and the chair works out the discussion topics in advance. And we usually do 3 or 4 things. And then we just get together. So can you need those dates again?
Ashley's got them too.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
So
Michelle's out on Michelle's out of the office on the first one, but we're all here on the second one. That puts us into May, which
There's other dates that are better
on
than
that one,
that.
but the second one I think worked. On our schedule, the second April date worked. Trust Ashley to keep us out of trouble.
That's great.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and this is just to get this conversation started, but we'd really like to talk about a joint road project for Ammon Road, two joint road projects, Ammon Road and Crowley. And those are both roads that we jointly own sections of, but it just makes sense that we collaborate on a project. For Ammon Road, it's 17th, as far north as we could go, certainly 17th to Lincoln. That would be the section we want to collaborate with the county on. And on Crowley would be from Sunnyside north to, well, as far as you guys want to take it. Most of Crowley is the county's. But we recognize we put quite a bit of our residents onto Crowley, and we have the intersection at 21st. That's all ours, and the intersection at 17th, which is mostly the city of Ammon. So those are your key pinch points there. So we'd love to collaborate on that one. So we've got our first street project. We want to get that done successfully first. We're just looking forward. That's kind of the next collaborative project we'd like. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
You have any update on funding on the First Street project? I know last time you were here, you talked about
Yeah,
there was
so
some sort of freeze or something. That you weren't
Yeah,
quite sure
actually,
about.
the freeze was lifted. And so the project,
Odd.
yeah, but it's crazy because, yeah, it went away. They said, oh, yeah, actually, it's fine. We don't have to review it for DEI. We're just joking around about that. But now, and so that was 2 weeks ago. So now we're like, okay, well, let's go, but we're still waiting for the go-ahead for the federalization of the project, which they've had the go-ahead for 2 weeks now. And we're calling them literally twice a day, saying, we need to go, because we can't do our noise study till the project is federalized. And so that's what we're waiting on right now. It's very
Yep, and we get the, we get the waiting on thing.
Yeah. That scared us, you know, when they pulled it back to DC, but now that's been released, we have the funds and they're available. But it's just a matter of them giving us the go-ahead on the project. So,
And I think Horrocks is
Sounds like Bear Creek Road, doesn't it?
going out to bid on it. I mean,
yeah,
they're ready,
It's ready.
as soon as you're ready, but you also have to finish the noise study and there's a few other environmental things too before you can award the bid, but
that's right, yeah. And they've got that, as far as I know, they've got the noise study and the environmental ready to roll, so it shouldn't hold up the bid. But those have to be completed before the bid.
Yeah.
Is awarded, so. Yeah, but good news on other projects for us. We did our SS4A safety study over the last couple of years that you guys helped out with, and participated in. The funding for SS4A is huge. There's a ton of money available there. For the SS, it stands for Safe Streets for All.
Okay.
Grant, and it was a safety program that came out about 3 years ago or so. And the way it worked was you had to do a safety study first to show where you had problems. And then after you, your safety study, you can apply for some implementation grant money, and there was a lot of money there. At the beginning of the year, it looked like those funds were going to be completely axed, which they were. And we had a grant opportunity in March that completely went away. Well, just last week, I guess somebody changed their mind and said, you know, we're gonna redo it and
Well,
we're
we
gonna
didn't
use-"
mean that fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now they've released $982 million for the program. I mean, that's a lot. And it was actually more than what was originally planned for this year. So we're gonna apply for some of that.
When do those have to be in by?
The grants at the end of June. So it does give me a little bit more time. Typically, they give you 3 weeks. And so we're gonna be writing some.
so will you have Tracy get with me? Cause I know some of the roads that were identified in your study were actually county roads.
Absolutely, many of them were.
And we may look at that, so,
Might be good to
yeah.
put in for some of those if we can.
And honestly, I don't know how many times we're gonna have this opportunity,
Yeah.
but I think what we should do is apply for as many as we can.
Yeah.
At this time,
And joint ones work better than independent ones.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'll have Tracy get a hold of you.
Seems like that 17th Street roundabout with the canals and the 45th, 49th roundabout with the canals that you guys have
Yeah,
right there. I don't know, seems like those are safety above all else.
Yeah.
concerns, but
yeah, and most of the study did focus
I
on.
just have nightmares about school buses tipping over in full canals.
Yeah.
Canal crossings.
So that's all for me. Any questions for me or anything we can help out with?
Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Do you know, I met with Cindy on area of impact and getting that reaffirmed because we have to do that per the state statute. I sent over some changes. I think she said it was going to be for council to review, but then I've never seen anything back from her.
Okay.
Can you just follow up on that for me?
You bet. So you're waiting on something from her about the council?
Yeah. Yeah, so I sent her a draft with all the updates that we talked about, which was really just
Fence.
changing some ordinance numbers and things that and statute numbers.
the
that we had
grade.
to change. Other than that, it was ready to go, and she said, I'll put it on a council agenda.
Well, we do
Have it
sweeping and stuff on those signs.
Okay. I will get a hold of her.
Yeah,
Perfect.
they're.
You bet.
No, we don't do it.
What's the question?
Sweeping sidewalks on 45th.
Oh, yeah, we don't sweep sidewalks, but they do have sweepers back from Swan Valley. They have started, hopefully they're starting today and sweeping some areas. And I know 45th East was one of the high areas that we need to sweep.
What's the sweeper we got for Brown sausage. Did we get a sweeper for sweeping the snow off instead of,
Oh, I don't know.
that's for his mule? Isn't that the right size to do those sidewalks? Probably the wrong kind of sweeper.
Sweepers are probably a little big to be putting on.
Our
sidewalks.
sweepers are too
Well,
heavy,
no,
those
yes.
sidewalks.
We got one doing sidewalks around here.
Yeah, if they're not using it right now and we
Pretty sure they're not sweeping snow with it.
Yeah, there's still a possibility of snow today.
Well,
right?
yeah, we've had 4 inches in the last 24, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure we-
I mean, if there's something out there that already the county has that we could
That's why
use.
Oh, yeah.
communicate between departments is a good thing. I'll ask Brian.
Okay. There's a few miles out there that
Spring is, and being a skateboarder growing up and then a rollerblader, I hate freaking gravel on cement. So. It was the
need
day
bigger
bef- it was
tires.
the day before soft, it was the day before soft wheels. In fact, my skateboard had steel wheels, which as far as your drift around, corners on, avenues in Salt Lake, come down those avenues and put those. Wake up the neighborhood. Yep, shut us off. Thank you.